Brought to you by GTA, your island, your network.
April 18th isn't just a tax filing deadline this year, but coincidentally enough, it's the same date the district court has ordered the government of Guam to pay attorney fees as part of a class action lawsuit over tax refunds.
Obviously, we're a bit disappointed.
As we reported Friday, GovGuam was ordered to pay $2.2 million, which includes $1.7 million in fees and an additional $62,000 in costs and interest. Governor Eddie Calvo's Director of Communications, Oyaol Ngirairikl.
Yeah, it's disappointing because we were obviously hoping that the case would be stayed and that we'd be able to address the case as it's going through the Supreme Court.
The case stems from a 2011 class action lawsuit filed by Rhea and Jeffrey Paeste and Sharon and Glenn Zapanta, which ordered tax refunds to be paid after 6 months. Late last year, GovGuam filed an appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court over the payment of attorney fees in the case. The governor's office argues that a Ninth Circuit's decision on the matter did not fall in line with previous rulings by the Supreme Court in respect to Guam's political status. The governor's office believes the attorneys for the plaintiffs rushed to file the lawsuit, knowing full well that Governor Calvo intended to make good on refunds.
It was a case where the writing was on the wall, essentially. The tax refunds were going to get paid out. The governor had already mentioned, prior to coming into office, that was one of his that was going to be a focus.
The governor's office adds the attorneys were well aware of the situation of past due tax refunds for years, yet they didn't raise the question. A release says, quote, they took advantage of the situation, end quote. Meanwhile, as part of the appeal in the ongoing case, the U.S. Supreme Court recently ordered the plaintiffs to file a response to the government's petition, which is not due until April 25th. And while Ngirairikl says GovGuam will be paying the attorney fees by the deadline, what does this mean for the timely payment of tax refunds?
We're going to work very hard to make sure that it doesn't impact tax refunds because, we have sort of our own timetable, that things that we want to meet. And the governor did make note that we're going to pay, I believe, $40 million in the next several weeks. So we're going to stick to that.
We should note the $2.2 million will be from a bond that GovGuam was required to take out to cover the costs and interest. She adds if GovGuam wins its case before the U.S. Supreme Court, the attorneys would have to repay the $2.2 million. Meanwhile, as of today, GovGuam has paid out roughly $12 million in tax refunds for those who filed error-free returns only up to January 25th. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Ken Quintaniza.
Brought to you by GTA, your island, your network.